But if you watch the show, by this time you know that I think government is pretty much useless. As far as I'm concerned, it's like a conglomerate of self-perpetuating bureaucrats whose primary mission is to just ensure their own survival. They do occasionally take time out of their busy day to take our money at gunpoint via taxes. Then they light some of it on fire, they flush the ashes down the toilet, and give the rest of it to their buddies in the military-industrial complex, Big Pharma, Hunter Biden, but not Maui. It's honestly really sad. It's bad enough that they do this with the general public, but what I take serious issue with is when the people and the well-being of those who are willing to die for this country are being sacrificed at the altar of the bureaucracy. Now, the AFGE, the American Federation of Government Employees, it's a union with over 75,000 people working for the federal government. They just won a case that said any VA employee that was dismissed under the VA Accountability Act, you know, the one that allowed the VA to fire bad employees, anyone who was fired under that clause could be now eligible for full reinstatement and up to 2.5 years of back pay. Really? Even people who were fired for, quote, grievous misconduct, they're eligible, they're not eligible for reinstatement, but they are eligible for up to 20% of their monthly salary multiplied by however many months since leaving the VA. My God. Imagine being able to put veterans on a waiting list, have them die, and then you get back pay after being fired. That's what's happening here. This is why the quality of care at the VA is so bad, because there's almost no incentive to excel. It's not like you'll get a huge bonus like you would in a private practice if you were the most outstanding employee. And apparently, it's almost impossible to fire anyone, and even if you do fire them, they can get back pay. Oh, but there's a ton more to this. Employees fired for poor performance or for less than grievous misconduct must all be offered their jobs back. What? Imagine that. If they accept reinstatement, they will receive a lump sum payment of 35% of their monthly salary at the time of dismissal, multiplied by their months not working for the VA. It goes on. If they do not accept reinstatement, like if they have another job or something, they will still get a lump sum of 55% of their monthly salary times their months out of work. End quote. Note the part in there where it says poor performance. Why would you rehire these people? The bottom line, every employee fired for poor performance under this Accountability Act is getting offered their job back with back pay. So long as you didn't kill anyone, sexually harass someone, or something equally as bad, you can have your job back. Even if your actions led to someone dying, like the waiting list, you might still get 20% back pay. And if you think it can't get any worse, look at this. Quote, employees who are demoted under Section 714, that's the VA Accountability Act, will be re-promoted to their prior or equivalent position unless they decline, and will be offered back pay equal to 75% of the pay they lost because of their demotion. I'm sorry, the mission statement for the VA that was updated in March of this year, mind you, quote, to fulfill President Lincoln's promise to care for those who have served in our nation's military and for their families, caregivers, and survivors. You tell me how hiring a bunch of employees that were fired for being bad at their job helps care for those who served our nation's military. You explain that to me. Really? Explain it to me like I'm stupid, because that's apparently what the VA thinks about us veterans. Of course, this union endorsed Joe Biden, though, for re-election. They do about as good a job for veterans as he did for the people of East Palestine. Oh, and don't forget the cool $268,000 of your tax dollars that the VA has to pay AFGE, the union, in legal fees. Seriously, What person in their right mind would order this? This is like, was Stalin the judge? This is why the VA is worse than the DMV. Look, sure, yes, there are good employees. I have witnessed them there before. They actually care, but they're not the ones in charge, clearly. Look, I hate the VA, and this is pretty much setting it in stone for me forever. I have been shot, blown up, been in aircraft crashes. I am 40 years old. I have no ACLs, torn rotator cuffs. I have bulging disc, herniated neck, traumatic brain injury from an IED that killed 3 of my friends right next to me, and I was happy to give it all for my country. But when I call the one agency that's supposed to help me, they stick me on hold, they outsource me to some rando, and then eventually, if I'm lucky, schedule an appointment for some dump like this that I went to last month. It was over an hour away from my house at some randomly assigned time during the day that I really didn't have any say in. I mean, really helping the veterans are you? We have 22 veterans a day killing themselves. But if you call the VA suicide hotline, there's a 50-50 chance you get put on hold. My Lord. Have you ever thought that maybe the VA is part of that problem? The one place where veterans are supposed to be able to turn to after they come home from war, which is not an easy thing to witness, and they're inviting crappy employees back? It's unbelievable. And the People's House just gave $300 billion to the VA for this fiscal year, and they turn around and rehire and give back a bunch of back pay to folks who were fired that don't deserve to be there. At the place with an average salary of $73,000 a year, which is 5% higher than your average government employee, by the way. We should be demanding that we hire the best people, not the ones who couldn't hack it. Certainly not give them a taxpayer-funded parting gift. The hubris of this union. And they put this on their website, quote, membership is skyrocketing. Yeah, well, of course it is. You just sent a signal to the federal employees everywhere that you can protect them if they're fired for nearly anything. But you know why I'm so angry about this? Because never in the course of this suit by any party was the care of the veteran considered. This was typical structure over function by an administration that could not care any less about anything but the system.